It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. And with less than 40 days away from Election Day on Tuesday, November 5th, some Michigan voters are actually looking to vote by mail. But some third-party groups are sending out absentee ballot applications to voters without them even asking for it. Is it legit? What should we really do with these ballots? That's why join us right here live on The Splash to debunk some of those questions. We have West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder joining us. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing just fine now that you are here. I kind of want to pick your brain with a few of these things that's going on, specifically with this third-party group absentee ballot. From your perspective, how are you ensuring that these absentee ballot applications received from these third-party mailers are properly validated and secure for voters?
Well, there isn't a question of security because what they are is applications. So if they are to get turned into us, we're going to enter it into the qualified voter file and notice that the voter has they also send registrations. Either the voter has already registered and or possibly already requested an absentee ballot application. So there's no security issue whatsoever to these applications at all. The issue is that it does confuse the voters, and that's where we kind of battle, when they get those, and we'll have people that say, I got 7 ballots, but they didn't get 7 ballots. They got 7 applications. Now, the reality with those third-party applications or contacts is that people do have the right to send them. Between free speech and using Freedom of Information Act to obtain the information about the voter list, they do have the right to send them. So we have to make sure we're educating voters so they know when they receive them that they may or may not be from their actual clerk's office. When we send an application or a registration form or an application, it has a barcode on it. Typically, we can scan something in for the voter. It has created a lot of work for us because we'll get in these applications, people don't remember or they don't think they filled it out. So we'll go to enter it in manually, and we discover that it's maybe the second, third, or fourth one that we've received for that person. So, but what they are is many of them are legitimate, and they're really just trying to get out the vote or get people to register. But these lists that have been obtained using Freedom of Information Act requests have been sold, merged, shared. In over time, the lists have just little things that make them not quite accurate. So people may get, these forms that are registered because there's some anomaly. They are legitimate registration forms. Typically, and I can't think of a counterexample, they're addressed back to your correct clerk. So again, it is a legitimate contact. It just does confuse our voters. And I did get a call, I know the one that you have on your screen was concerning to somebody because they thought taxpayer money was being used to send that. But that was a third-party contact that did a lot of just using the governor's name and trying to make it look like it was official. But the reality is it was sent by a third-party interest group that wanted to get out the vote. So the best thing to do when you get these mailers or these things you're uncertain about is one, Google the name of who actually sent it. Now on that one, on the return address, it had Governor Whitmer, but if you read the bottom of it, it said the Voter Something Project. And if you Google that, you'll find out that it's a third-party, non-governmental entity that was sending it. So that's it.
No. I appreciate that information. So there's a little bit of digging, a little bit of investigating that you have to do, but ultimately, I'm glad you provided that clarification regarding this. These ballots from these third parties are legit. They have the right to legally do that. But like you said, they're not ballots, they're ballot applications. So I just want to make sure
or registration forms.
There we go. So they aren't legit ballots. They aren't being funded by taxpayer money or anything of that nature. So I appreciate that clarification. With us right right here live on the Splash, by the way. West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder debunking some of the myths and misconceptions when it comes to these absentee ballots and absentee ballot applications coming from third parties. Now, real quick, I know there is something regarding to validation with signatures and things of that nature. You kind of explained it a little bit, but can you go into more detail into the process your office follows to match the voters' signatures on absentee ballot application and how it maintains the integrity during the election?
I am glad you asked that. That's a really good question because it's something people don't realize either. And we have, when we do get a ballot back or an application, and we do verify the signature against the one that we have in the qualified voter file. The one that we have in the qualified voter file is the signature that the person used on their driver's license or on their state ID.
Okay.
Now we have a couple of populations in particular, our 18 to 25-year-olds who are maturing their signature, so those signatures change. Or, sometimes we have elderly people who may develop some kind of a physical, problem that changes their signature. They are able to put an alternate signature on file with the clerk's office that we would be able to accept as well. But we are checking it against what we have on your license. We did have a mother and son one year that wondered why their ballot was rejected, and it turned out that they tried to sign their signature very carefully on their ballot, which didn't match what was on their license at all. And unfortunately, they did not get the messages. We do try to contact anybody that has a signature issue, whether it's not signed or the signature doesn't match. Okay. We're contacting them by email, mail if there's time, and phone calls. So we do try to catch them and give them the opportunity to cure whatever the signature deficiency would be. Right. But we didn't reach them in this case. And the other thing that's good to know is that, it doesn't have to be your full name as it is. When you register online, it has to be the name exactly as it is on your driver's license. When you sign your ballot, like if I were to write D. Binder instead of writing out my entire name, but the characteristics of the writing were clearly mine, then we would accept that. Wow. I did put my own alternate signature on file because I looked at my signature one day and said, I wouldn't take that. So I put my own alternate signature, but that is an option.
Right.
Important things to know with that is the voter actually has to vote the ballot and have a mark, whatever alternate signature it is. Power of attorney does not transfer for voting, and neither does these ballots will not forward. So those are two important things for people to know.
No, that was real good to know. Power of attorney doesn't work with voting and things of that nature. That's very great information. It's also good that you kept in mind for the younger voters who may be, like you said, or even the older voters who may be redeveloping their signature. I remember that phase in my life where I was just trying to get my signature down pat. So I could imagine a different entities that's probably looking like, this is a different signature from before. So I love that you all do your due diligence. Debbie, we appreciate your time being here, all the information. Any additional information regarding voting, election day, or absentee ballots that you want to let the community know about?
Well, I would let people know in the community who are watching, we will be putting the absentee ballots in the mail today. We were going to take them to the Metroplex, which is the post office in Pontiac. We will be delivering 17,500 ballots to the Metroplex today. So if you have already requested an absentee ballot, watch your mail. If you don't get it within the next 2 weeks, you may want to call our office to see if, to confirm that we have sent it. And if we haven't, it hasn't arrived, we can spoil it and issue you a new one. You may obtain an absentee ballot up to 4 p.m. the Monday prior to the election. Okay. So now that 4 p.m. is a hard stop. It's statutory, so I cannot hand you one at 4:01. So you'd have to be here by 4 p.m. on Monday. And also important to remember, Kevin, which is actually very exciting, because I was typically a precinct voter because I like to get my sticker. Yeah. But I am now a convert to early voting. It is so convenient at the West Bloomfield Library for anyone in West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, or Orchard Lake. Our Oakland County is providing the service for the local clerks, so Lisa Brown is overseeing it. And it's been a tremendous help, and it is so easy for people who want to participate. And even if you get an absentee ballot in the mail, you may take that absentee ballot to the early voting center or to your precinct on election day and feed the ballot through yourself.
Oh,
And one of the nice features of that is if you were to make a mistake on your ballot, in this election it would be different. But for an example, in the August primary, if you crossed over, the machine would kick it back, and you would get to spoil your ballot and vote a new one. So you get a
ah,
second bite at the apple. Where if you turn it in as an absentee ballot, it is absolutely counted. But if you make a mistake, a bipartisan team is going to make a determination on
right.
if that ballot should be, how it should be counted. Should it be cast without that partisan section counting, or should it be duplicated onto one without the error? So it's important to keep that in mind. I just think early voting kind of brings the best of both
Yes.
worlds, as well as an opportunity for a resident or a voter who may have a vacation planned or will be out of town, or our residents who may work a long shift. They're firefighters, they're nurses. They may have a long shift, and the 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on election day just doesn't
True.
work.
True.
So it's something to keep in mind. You now have 3 ways to vote. You can vote by absentee ballot, you can do early voting, and even you can do early voting with or without your absentee ballot. And you can also vote in your precinct on election day.
There we
So
go.
we try to make it so that people have access to the ballot. And if you have questions, on any of those third-party mailers, or you're at all confused, call the clerk's office. We're going to check it out for you.
Please do. These are resources that are available at our fingertips, especially if you have questions with a lot of different messages coming at, especially during election season. I just have one question. We definitely got to let you go, Debbie, and I appreciate you. Is there any chance that we will get some of these I voted stickers designed by Michelle Leckman of West Bloomfield High School?
Do you know what? I have to look at them again. I do. I'm glad you brought it up, because with all the stuff going on, we got preoccupied and then forgot to go back and look
Okay.
at it. So I appreciate the reminder, and we will go take a look at them and see if we can order them in time for the election.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That'd be so nice right there. Well, thank you so much again for your time and giving us information regarding absentee ballots, specifically coming from these third-party groups. From the West Bloomfield Township Clerk, Debbie Binder. Thank you again.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a great day.
Absolutely. You have a better one, Ms. Binder. So we love, first and foremost, providing accurate information, especially as election season is getting close. But like we said, third-party application, ballot applications are legit. But if you want to find out more, go to wbtownship.org in order to verify that and get more information. Now, as far as other things going on in the greater West Bloomfield area, at our library, the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, there's a very, very special event going on. It's called a Human Library event going on October 5th. It's a very different, unique approach to learning about different things going on, and I don't want to spoil it too much myself. That's why joining me right here live on The Splash to give out a little bit more information regarding that event, marketing and communications specialist for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Victoria Edwards. Thank you for being here, Victoria.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start off getting straight to it. Just tell us more about this Human Library event on October 5th.
Yeah, so this is an event where you come into the library, at the main library here at West Bloomfield, and instead of checking out a book, you can check out a person. So you can borrow a person for like a 30-minute conversation. And each of the people that we have as a volunteer book is somebody who's experienced some form of discrimination, a stigma, a prejudice, stereotyping, something related to part of their identity. And so you can talk with them, learn more about their identity, their life experiences, and ask questions. Questions are encouraged. So this is more of like a conversation than you would get with a normal book if you were to just pick them off the shelf.
Okay. I like this. So we got to get into how this even came about. What inspired the West Bloomfield Township Library to collaborate with, I believe, the Human Library, which is an organization overall for this event?
Yes, the Human Library Organization is an international organization that hosts these events, often at public libraries around the world. And this is something that makes a lot of sense for West Bloomfield. You know, given the interests in our communities, we have a lot of people who like to attend cultural events here, who like to learn more about other people, other cultures, other experiences. And so this event, it feels like a really natural fit in this community. It's something that I've attended before. And I've been involved with human library events before I
Okay.
started working here at West Bloomfield. So when I proposed the idea, it felt like a natural fit to everybody else here too.
Nice. I'm glad everyone was on board. This is my first time hearing about it, and I'm like, as you're describing, I'm like, wow, that is an interesting concept, and I like that we're bringing it to our local community. And with us right here live on The Splash from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library Marketing and Communication Specialist, Victoria Edwards. Now I'm interested to know how you all selected your human books for the human library, if you want to call it that. What's that selection process about? What's the criteria for people that are the human books?
Yeah, so we had an application on our website that people could submit just to let us know that they were interested in participating. It is voluntary, so we tell everybody,
Right.
it's at will. You can leave anytime if it seems stressful or if, you're not feeling well the day of the event. But we do have sort of a selection process. So we do a bit of an interview after everybody completes the application, just to make sure that they understand what we're asking of them, what the event is, and that they're comfortable being asked questions and talking about their life story. It's not something that everybody's comfortable with.
True.
We have to make sure that if they've been through some traumatic experiences, that they've processed those, they're at a point in their lives where they can speak to that comfortably. So that's something that we're really careful about. We also want to make sure that people aren't there to, advertise their business, or a book that they've written, or, something like that.
Good point.
This is more of a place for genuine, like, civic conversation and dialogue.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah.
it's a bit of an interview process, yeah, but it's wonderful. And sometimes through the process, people might say, I'm not totally comfortable with this actually, or we might feel that they might be a better fit as a reader or in a different role.
Okay.
But I'm really excited about the volunteers we have this year. They're amazing.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I can only imagine the conversations, the connections are going to be made there. With that being said, you said you've done this before. Are there any memories that you can share with us from any of the past events?
Yeah, my best memories of it are when I've been able to come in as a reader. So
Okay.
I've never served as a book. I've always only been an organizer or a reader for a human library group.
Okay.
And when you come in as a reader, you come up to the desk, you see what titles are available. And you can wait for a title if one's not available and you want to wait a little longer, you can do that too. But you get to pick from the list. You can ask for advice in selecting, who you think might be a good conversation partner for you
Okay.
too. Librarians are always happy to help with that. But
Okay.
I remember one time when I was a reader, the one that stands out to me most was I read a story about somebody who had been a teen mom, and she had put herself through a GED program and everything else after giving birth in order to give her child the best quality of life. And the stories that I heard from her, I can't describe, I guess, because it's really something that you only get out of one-on-one conversations.
Yeah.
And when you get to know somebody who's been through something like that, it can change your perspective.
Yep.
I didn't realize before I went into that conversation that I had some prejudices about that and that I had some associations, but it was really a learning curve for her. I think at one point she said that, she kind of had to be more of an adult in her life than some of the adults in her life, because some of the things that they were saying to her and the stigmas that she was experiencing from, teachers and trusted adults.
I know what you mean by that now. Okay. Wow.
Yes, yeah. So it was a learning curve. And every conversation I have with a human book, I learned something.
Yeah.
These volunteers are wonderful, and their stories are amazing to hear.
Oh my goodness. Like, I love that for so many different reasons. First and foremost, on the outside surface level of people, you can think a million different things. Like, being in West Bloomfield, you think everyone is rich, or everyone has a lot of money, everyone's doing well, but you sit and have a conversation with someone, you'd be surprised what it took for them to get to where they are, or what they're actually going through now, and you'll have a different level of compassion for them, and you'll even find common ground in some of those areas, and it'll make you build that connection. So, man, I'm just floored by that experience, just overall the connection and the purpose of this event. With us right here live on The Splash, Marketing Communication Specialist for West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Victoria Edwards, talking about the Human Library event on October 5th. Don't want to hold you up too much longer. Do want to ask you just a couple more questions. What do you want people to take away from attending this event?
The biggest thing, like you say, is kind of that connection. We had somebody last year who we do a little survey at the end of it for all of our volunteer books and all of our readers as well, if they'd like to fill out a survey. And somebody said that they had a genuine aha moment, and that's my goal. Is for people to build, either to find a relation at that point of commonality between them and somebody that they think they might not have as many commonalities with, or to just learn something about somebody who had a very different experience from them and kind of relate on that human level. So.
Right. Yeah, I really actually like this event, and I really want to take the time to find time to go there myself, because I'm interested in seeing this, and I like to have those personal conversations with people, and sometimes it's those uncomfortable conversations where it's necessary and it builds that connection. But lastly, before we go, with that being said, are there any possible future plans to extend or even evolve this specific event in the future?
One thing is that we're always trying to make sure that we stay in line with the Human Library Organization, since we kind of license the concept and the name from them.
Okay.
And they provide us with a lot of support, training materials and stuff like that as well. So we have to stay in line with their mission and some of their regulations and stuff around making sure that we have a lot of diversity, but they're always very focused on making sure that every community is different and that we're catering our event to our community. So that's already something that we're able to do in line with that. This is actually the second time that we're offering this event. We did it for the first time ever last year, I think in August timeframe. So it's been a little over a year since our last one, and we're excited to hopefully continue offering it.
Oh man, Victoria, good luck with preparing and getting this and actually executing this event. Like I said, if I can find the time, I promise you I'll be there. I can't wait for it. But thank you again for your time. Marketing and communication specialist for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Victoria Edwards. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much. And thanks to the Friends of the Library for helping us sponsor this event too.
Yes, thank you to the Friends of the Library for West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Yes, we appreciate that. Very, very interesting. If you want to get to know some of the residents right here in the greater West Bloomfield area just a little bit more, ask some of those questions, know their story, this is the event for you. Human Library, October 5th at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. For more, go directly to their Facebook, West Bloom LIB, or you can go directly to the website, WBLIB.org, WBLIB.org. You know what's also interesting about humans? Their athletic abilities. And the West Bloomfield Lakers football is away on the road tomorrow to take on Clarkston. By the way, after a blowout win at home in the Swamp, the West Bloomfield Lakers varsity football team, like we said, is on the road. That'll be tomorrow, Friday, September 27th, taking on the 2-2 Clarkston Wolves. That'll be at 7 p.m., by the way. Now, the Wolves themselves, they're recovering from a loss, 28-10. And that's from the undefeated 4-0 Rochester Adams Highlanders, who we are oh so familiar with. They are rolling right now, and they're looking to bounce back against that their loss from the Highlanders to the Lakers on their home turf, and that'll be on this Friday. And one of the highlights of the Lakers so far this season has been their defense. One of our very own, Tyler Keefe, had a chance to talk about that defense with his leader on the coaching staff. Let's take a look at that.
Joining me in this segment is the Lakers defensive coordinator, Coach Ron Jones, with us on the program. And impressive first few weeks for your Laker defense, 2 shutouts at home and a couple of low-scoring games in between that for teams that tend to put a lot of points on the board. Give us your review of these first 4 weeks from your defense and your positives and negatives from them so far.
Well, we've been really playing some lights-out football here these last couple of weeks. Barring the game against Groves, where we kind of gave up a little more than we wanted to, we missed a lot of tackles. So we basically been getting back to the fundamentals, like, tackling. But I do think that we came into these first 4 games prepared. We watched a lot of film, prepared really well for the opponent, and it kind of showed on the field. So things that we can try to do better, obviously tackling, let them hats to the ball at all times. making sure we understanding our assignments and things of that nature. So I'm feeling really confident going into this week's game against Clarkston, which we haven't won there in a long time. It's what I keep hearing. So hopefully we can change that this week. That's the mindset this week.
Yeah, a little something to sweeten the deal with these young players to say, look, you can make some West Bloomfield history here, break the streak a little bit, go into Clarkston and pick up a really big win. And that's kind of the interesting thing with this defense is they've shown out these first 4 weeks, but that's really the younger side of this team coming into 2024. How impressed have you been with those underclassmen and those upperclassmen that have stepped into some pretty big roles this year?
Well, the upperclassmen have been tutoring the younger guys really well. So they're giving them a really good somebody to look up to out on the field, being, leaders in the classroom and the way they approach the day, right? So everybody's kind of looking at the upperclassmen to kind of lead the way. But I've been having a lot of my younger guys actually step up and make plays and get more into the film and more into the preparation, because that's how, when you prepare for the game is easy, right? The more you know, the more film you watch, the easier your job is on Friday night. So I think we've been doing collectively as a unit a really good job of preparing and watching film and just understanding everything that the team likes to do to try to combat that on the field. So through these first 4 weeks, I think we're doing pretty decent, but I know we can get a lot better. We still haven't played our best football yet.
When you got a dynamic duo a year ago like Jonathan Gabriel and Brandon Davis swaying on the edges, that's a tough act to follow. But a dynamic duo that's been developing this season, Josh Bryant and Jeremiah Benson, who both lead this team in sacks, picked up an assisted sack with each other last week as well as one individually for Jeremiah. How crucial have they been to that front four in 2024, building that into that next generation of a really stout line?
Yeah, well, those guys work really, really, really hard this offseason in the weight room. I was here with Coach Eddie Wilson, who's the D-line coach and also the strength and conditioning coach. So we really put a point of emphasis in getting a lot stronger, and it's kind of showing on the football field when we do our job. Like when we keep our pad level low, then we're really driving guys out of there. But those guys are working extremely hard and giving us a great look up front for the unit, right? So, I think we can get better. This will be a tough task for us this week, but it's not a task that I don't think we're up to. I think we go out there and, and show them what we got out there in Clarkston.
And taking that mindset of having tough days in the gym, tough days on the football field, and that begins from the first practice to the present. How does that help you set up what you need to go into Clarkston this week, and especially throughout the rest of this OAA Red Division season, to make that strong push forward as we hit the midseason point?
Well, Coach, this right here is a really big test for us, and I think we're up to the task. We'll get the intensity up real high this week. Super aggressive, flying around, assignment football, tackling well, and I think once we do that, the mindset will be what it's been the first 4 weeks, right? So what we really want to do is we really want to go over there and set the tone as far as how we want the game to be played, right? We want a lot of 3-and-outs. We want to force some turnovers, which we've been doing a pretty good job of these first 4 games. I believe we got 3 turnovers with 3 touchdowns. We got 21 points, I think, we scored through the first 4 games on defense. 1 block punt and a punt return for a touchdown last week against Southfield. But if we can keep that momentum up, we're also giving the offense more chances for them to score, which is playing some team ball, right? So anything we do is trying to complement the offense and try to give them more of a chance to put that ball in the end zone, right? So, my unit, man, they playing some really good ball. The coaching staff, though, Coach Keith Cameron with the preparation, the hours of film, and just making sure everything is where it needs to be. Coach Eddie Wilson, defensive line coach, myself coaching the linebackers, and Coach Zach Hilbers, overseeing the overall thing. I think we've been doing a really, really good job of making sure the guys are prepared for the task that's in front of them on Friday night. So.
And being coachable from the player perspective, that's got to play a factor in that too. A younger team, it seems like they really are listening to those lessons that your very experienced coaches are giving to them this season.
Yeah, they're pretty locked in. And, like we told them, man, the more you understand your job, the easier the game is on Friday night. So, understanding how a guy wants to attack you from the offensive side of the ball gives you an advantage defensively. Being in the right place at the right time, understanding your assignment, and just going out there and just focusing on your job. So, I think we go into Clarkston. I think we set the tone early. I'm looking to get an early turnover. to kind of set the tone, take the crowd out of it a little bit, because they got a really good fan base over there. So we know what we got up against us, but we're not going to flinch. We're not going to flinch at all.
Take the hype in that homecoming crowd at Clarkston, use that as fuel. That's what we're going to be seeing from this Laker defense coming up in week number 5. Coach Ron, thanks for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes, and a new episode of This Week in Laker Football is available on demand right now, civiccentertv.com, and we will have coverage of the pregame, postgame, as well as This Week in Laker Football like we have all on our website, civiccentertv.com, to keep up with everything West Bloomfield High School sports football season related, we should say as well. Now, after you are on the field doing physical activity, you need to take care of yourself. And there is a self-care Sunday event that benefits local women in need, by the way. And we actually do have an opportunity to have someone on the Splash to tell us a little bit more about this upcoming event. And join us right here live on the Splash from the organization Elite Bridal, Donate a Gown USA International. We have Jonette Edgars joining us on the Splash. And Jonette, thank you for being here. Can you just give us the basics of Self-Care Sunday, the drive event itself that you'll be holding at Orchard Mall on October 13th?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. First of all, I want to say thanks to the mall for allowing Elite Bridal to be here in the mall and to serve our community. The event is catered to women, making sure that we can de-stress, we can come together and celebrate each other, and give inkling as to what they're looking for their wedding, being able to have the right merchandise, the jewelry, the shoes, the alteration services that they may need. So we are catering to the women and making sure that we are there to support them, and also our community at large. And as we move into homecoming, we want to utilize that time to have our local ladies donate gowns and so forth to the young women who are going to prom and homecoming.
Yeah, that's a good thing right there. I love to hear and see that, first and foremost, taking the stress out of something that's, whether it's a wedding, a homecoming, prom. For a woman, it's a lot more steps to getting prepared. I'm just speaking from a man's perspective. I get a haircut, I throw on my tie, my shirt. I'm halfway dressed already. All I need is a tie.
Exactly.
But for a woman, it's so much more to that. Yeah. So I want to kind of get into that overall. What overall inspired you to start the Elite Bridal Donate a Gown initiative?
So I am originally from Monrovia, Liberia, West Africa, and I was a substitute teacher for over 15 years, and I saw the need massively for young women who needed to have gowns, but their parents, did not have the funding to do so. And we will host event at the school to make sure that they can get those high quality gowns, but for a reasonable price. So that passion have led me here to West Bloomfield, because I moved in the area and I seen the mall and the space, and I was like, this will be the great opportunity, not just to me and my family, but to give back, to make sure that young women can come in. If you don't have the funding, guess what? You can pick a dress, you can get a shoes, you can get jewelry to go for that. As long as you're in school, your goal is to graduate and go to college, who want to be there for you and to help you. So that was my passion in opening up the store here in the mall. And once again, I just want to say thank you so much to the mall management for giving us this opportunity to be here. I'm here in the store right now. As you can see behind me, we have hundreds of dresses already and available. So this program, on the 13th, we are asking the local women to bring in those gowns in your closet that you may not have need for, so that someone can enjoy the privilege of it.
Oh, wow. I love it. The way you explained it and added the context to it, it makes so much more sense. Like you said, like we already talked about. Yeah, obviously a wedding is so hectic. So taking that financial burden off is definitely a relief. But then even for high schoolers, like you said, you're supposed to be focusing on class and graduating. So let's just worry less about you having to find a job to save money to get a gown, if that is the case or situation. So I love and honor your initiative for that. And with us right here live on the Splash from Elite Bridal, Donate a Gown USA, Jonette Eggers just talking about the upcoming Self-Care Sundays event at the Orchard Mall, October 13th. That'll be from 12 noon to 4 p.m., by the way. Do you have any stories, memorable stories of a young lady or a woman getting a gown or a dress from your organization, how it may have changed her life or her mood?
Oh, yes, I do. I have so many stories. We'll be on here forever. I had a young lady who needed a gown and did not have the funding. We was able to actually get her hair done, her makeup, and be able to give her that gown. And we have women, even those that want to get married and don't have the funding to buy those exquisite gowns. They can come in and get the gowns at a minimum price. And one in particular, she got the gown and she was so happy. She was able to get a free wedding gown. So those are things that we want to do and continue to do for women.
Nice.
And this event, the Self-Care Sunday, is to be able to hug each other and let the women know who may be in need that we're here for them. We have experts that's going to be here to talk about issues, women issues, girls issues, and be able to help each other go through life without that heavy stress and burden. So we're hoping the community come out and just enjoy this event as well with us and make things happen for those in need.
So my biggest question to you, with that being said, obviously the operation itself relies heavily on these donations. So how are you engaging with the local West Bloomfield community to promote these gown donations and sustainability altogether?
Yeah, so like we're doing right now here with you, we thank you for the opportunity. We have done the local newspaper as well with the coupon books. We also are doing door-to-door with our fundraiser, and we're here in the mall. We're also passing out flyers and making sure people know about us. And we're hoping that through your show that more people will learn about what we do here in the mall and get involved and help us as well, because like your segment before me, the joy of reading. Like I said, I'm originally from Liberia, and my father actually did not learn how to read and write to teach us, his 10 children, till he was 16 years old in Liberia. And because of him, we was able to come to America. Education is key. So even though we're doing this self-help, we have also have another project we're doing, which is donating backpacks that have been already given to our foundation, and we want to be able to present it to Sonia Jones come tomorrow at the middle school event. So we're looking forward to doing so much in the community. This is so personal for me, making sure that we as women, we have that support that we need at all times.
I can see the passion in your tone and your energy overall, Jonette, and I love to see that you're doing this for our local community. Just a few more questions. One, how do you feel like this event, Self-Care Sunday, is going to further the goals of your organization, Elite Bridal? Donate a gown.
I think it's gonna make a huge impact, because people will come in, they will see these beautiful gowns, they will see the accessories, they will see our passion and our goal in helping. And I think a lot of women will understand. I'm a small business owner, and for those women who have a dream of opening up their own store, this will also encourage them that if I can do it coming from Liberia with $5 in one suitcase and be standing here in this exclusive, beautiful mall and have a store to give back to the American people, this is the greatest blessing there is. So I think just being here with you will give them that notion to say, yes, you can do it as well. Go for your dream.
That's very contagious, because you being extremely appreciative and grateful makes me extremely appreciative and grateful also. It makes me want to, do the same thing. So I love that. Once again, thank you again for your time. Lastly, before we let you go, give out the details of the event once again and what people can expect, please.
Thank you. So this is a Self-Care Sunday from 12 to 4 here at Elite Bridal on October 13. We will have light lunch, and we'll have experts available to talk with you about issues you may be going through. And if you want to come in, donate a gown or dress, a gently used or new, feel free to do so. We are accepting those as well. Backpack for our local school, especially I love the passion of Sonia James at the middle school. We want to be able to be a blessing to her teachers. So we do have supplies, school supplies we want to donate to her, and just appreciate the community, the high school, the elementary school, making sure that people know, yes, we can, as women small businesses, we have a power as mothers to give back as well. So this will be a beginning of, a yearly thing that we want to do going forward.
There we go. Inaugural. We love to help promote that. And lastly, before we let you go, what are the cost and or registration steps?
It is free to come in. We do have, just go online, or you can call me directly. The phone number is 248-275-3629. We want everyone to come in and be free to enjoy the event. And if you would like to register, just give us a call. 248-275-3629. We'd love to see you, and let's have a good time together.
Hey, free. We love that. Great thing that you are doing. We are happy to have you right here on the Splash once again from Elite Bridal Donated Gown USA International. Jonette Edgards talking about Self-Care Sunday, October 13th, 12 to 4 p.m. We appreciate your time and information.
Thank you so much. God bless.
And once again, Self-Care Sunday taking place at Orchard Mall, just in case you didn't get that information. Again, Sunday, October 13th, 12 noon to 4 p.m. A great event for women locally. She actually, as soon as she said light lunch, I was already interested, but it's not for me. It's actually for local women, like we said before, focusing on donating bridal and special occasion gowns to brides and young teens, aiming to spread joy and support charitable causes. So we love that effort right there by Jonette Edgards in the West Bloomfield community. So much more to keep us engaged in locally, especially as we are transitioning officially into the fall season. We'll talk about that a little bit more coming up. We're live, local social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Join Tyler Keefe and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Hi, my name's Megan Tahako. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager for West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations to Civic Center TV for reaching 1 million views on YouTube. We appreciate all you do in this community to help share our stories. Megan Tahako, proud to be 1 in a million.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for being here. I am your host for today, Kevin McIntosh. Now, as the fall season slowly progresses into winter, which we know is a little bit ahead of time, the West Bloomfield area, we all experience shorter days and reduced sunlight, which sometimes contributes to lower serotonin levels and also can contribute to SAD, S-A-D, seasonal affective disorder, and that can also affect our moods as human beings. So to debunk that a little bit more and to break down SAD, especially as seasonal affective disorder, from the Positive Shift, we have motivational speaker Stacey Renee joining us. Thank you so much for being here, Stacey.
It is my pleasure, always a pleasure, and I enjoy helping all the local community, and, we need a redirection sometimes for our mindset. Reminders are always helpful. Thanks for having me.
So this is why we have you here to talk about this. I don't think too many people put notice on this, but how do you think the changing seasons, especially right here in Michigan, affect going from the winter to the fall summer to the winter to the fall, or summer, fall, winter, How does that affect the mental and emotional well-being, especially in older adults in West Bloomfield?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. And, there's a lot of weight to the seasons. Michigan is known for their 4 seasons, but it also has a lot to do with your mental health, the status and how you feel, and just your overall well being. And, with less sunlight coming in, we're getting to be having busy schedules. Kids are going back to school. And it's a common experience for us to dip in the mood and keep our motivation strong. And there are definitely several ways to keep proactive and energized during this time. And like you said about SAD is a type of depression, and it occurs at the same time each year during the winter time. Um, and so what we can do is our internal clock is telling us, I have to go to bed, I have to go to sleep. And, we just have to kind of think about different ways that we can be more proactive in helping us with our mood effect. I did kind of get a couple of ideas, and it's to get
Please.
refocused and energy.
hmm
Keep us going, right? I mean, have you experienced this before?
Yes, I think we all have essentially, and that's the thing too. With especially being here in Michigan, not only does the winter time, keep us indoors, but like we're away from people a lot more. Some of us are now, especially in the aging population, you become empty nesters. Like you said, your kids go to school, so you're not only dealing with isolation from people, but isolation from the community, but from people in general. So yeah, I definitely experienced it myself, just being a Michigander.
Right. And I think sometimes being aware of the common effects and the warning signs that would trigger us as we transition into the season. So,
hmm
some of the common signs are feeling more fatigued than usual,
Oh.
difficulty concentrating, a loss of interest in activities that you usually would enjoy, and challenges in your sleep pattern,
Ugh.
or even your appetite. And before you know it, you're withdrawing from social events, you're feeling down, and these are all early signs of SAD. So, knowing what the signs are is the number one key.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm glad you explained that too. As you were talking about it, I'm like, I definitely feel that. Like, and you know what's so crazy? Even during the summer, I feel like I'm not the only person who felt fatigue often. Want to just kind of stay to myself at some times. So even during the summer times, I feel like this could actually happen. But during the fall and the winter times, when people aren't even outside, then it's more of like a hibernation thing, especially right here in our greater West Bloomfield area. But just to reset the show, join us right here on The Splash, motivational speaker from the Positive Shift, Stacey Renee. Join us just talking about the seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD, that can happen when we transition from summer to fall into the winter months also. How important would you say physical activity and maintaining a social routine is for combating these seasonal depressions?
It's a game changer to have a plan in place. And here are a few tips that can actually help you. And one is increase exposure to natural light. Sometimes I think we get so in tune to just being in our house or just going from the house to the car to your activity,
hmm
but getting some exposure to natural outside, going outside, going for a short walk, putting your feet on the ground. And okay, it's a little cold, it's a little wet. That's okay. But feeling the connection with the earth, as crazy as that sounds, really does
Yes.
have a significant
Yes.
game changer to us. And I know that you and I spoke about that
hmm
before.
hmm
It's important to do that. The other thing is, it's so easy to fall out of a routine. So maintaining a routine, sticking to the regular schedule for sleep, meals, exercise can regulate your mood. Staying connected socially, that's
hmm
really important as well. Don't isolate yourself. It's so easy to do, like, oh, I don't want to go out. My couch feels really good. So make sure that you make plans with friends to keep your social spirits up. Something else that is really easy to fall out of, like more than anything in the world, and that's exercise. So
hmm
exercising regularly, the physical activity really helps your mood and it boosts it immensely. And people think that they have to do it for an hour, 45 minutes. Well, let me tell you, my friends, you don't. And if you can just do something and get yourself motivated and have a workout accountability person. And
Mm.
that is huge. And I've recently been doing that. And that is been a game changer for me in the last 2 weeks because I have been affected recently by this SAD, and I'm not allowing it to take me over anymore.
There you
And
go.
motivation and accountability is key. And then the last thing that I'd kind of like to add in is, you know, consider light therapy. If you can't get out, you can't do these things, they have resources. They have things that you can do. So light therapy is a box. It mimics the natural sunlight, and it's also really known to help with the sad situation. And I actually have one. And if it wasn't in my room, I would run and get it. But it's a light that is about like this big. Sometimes if you get up in the morning and you just take 5 minutes to yourself and just sit there
Yes.
and have that light come into you, that is a game changer. And only you can make the change, only you can be the change. That's
No,
important to remember.
100%. No, it's a whole, like you said, like it's a routine. It's making sure you stay social, stay connected, having accountability buddy, as some people say. All of those things kind of play a role in keeping that motivation. Because like you said, whether we believe it or not, nature plays a huge role in our mood, the weather and
Sure
everything
does.
like that. And we know in Michigan, the seasons can get depressing, but we have to overcome that and combat that. So with us right here live on The Splash, motivational speaker from The Positive Shift, Stacey Renee, talking about combating being sad, seasonal affective disorder, transitioning from summer to fall to winter. Now, we just talked about identifying stages or symptoms of going through this disorder, and then also solutions. So what role can community support and family connections play in helping older adults, especially right here in West Bloomfield, stay positive and motivated during the seasonal changes? And how can they foster these relationships in practical ways?
Well, practical steps and encouragement are what we need to identify as well. So here are some great tips. The key is to prioritize self-care and set boundaries for yourself. That is so easy to forget, and don't overcommit to yourself. I do that all the time, but let me tell you, no is a simple sentence. No. No explanation, no reason. You're taking care of yourself, and there are 24 hours in a day, and you deserve to have at least a half an hour to yourself. Whether you sit, you meditate, you have that light therapy in front, you go put your feet on the ground. Boundaries are super important. Make time to relax, practice mindfulness and focus on what brings you joy rather than getting caught up in all the busyness. So important. We do get caught, and you know what? You are the owner of your calendar, so you have the right to say no. And take small steps into, maybe you work out or just do some exercises. A great thing to do is just move your arm up and down and then take your thumb and like move it back and forth. You'd be amazed how that will help your energy. Just moving your body. It's simple things. Get up, jump around your house.
Yeah.
Let's just do these things.
Yeah.
And don't hesitate. I'm going to tell you, do not hesitate to ask, because somebody else, one of your other friends or colleagues, is feeling the same thing that you are. And if you don't ask, you could be not doing enough for yourself. So ask somebody, make them your accountability partner.
Yeah.
And one final thought for those that may be struggling to be motivated, remember the feelings of sad are temporary. Everything that you're going through in life is temporary. It's how you handle the outcome of it. Small daily actions like getting outside, again, moving your body, staying connected, and others, that really makes the biggest impact, because
I'm
you
sorry
know,
to
my
cut
friend.
you off.
Get motivated. No, you're good, my friend.
And you brought up a great point, and because of that, I just thought of something else. We have a lot of activity going on right here in our local community. West Bloomfield Parks put on a lot of different events, and they have opportunities for people to participate. So can you just talk about, very briefly before we let you go, how important it is to actually be involved in some of these activities that we have for the greater West Bloomfield community?
Getting out sometimes does more for you than you realize. Getting out, and you may feel a little insecure at first. If you're out, look at somebody that is maybe just kind of standing there. They're trying to get out. Go socialize with them. I mean, the West Bloomfield has so many events, so many things. I was at a ribbon cutting last night, and I have to tell you, I felt so energized by the time that I got home. I felt like my body was buzzing because I was around positive energy people. Like I was adapting. I was like, wow, this is great. And I went up to people I didn't know. I'm like, hi, I'm Stacy. And, it really does make a big difference from going out, being part of the community, being with one versus sitting on your couch. Be you. And real quick, I do have 7 tips just to avoid seasonal depression.
Please.
So if I could run those off real quick.
Come on.
Okay, stay active. Regular physical activity is and to boost your mood and energy level. Number 2 is getting outside. Again, refreshers, fresh air, sunlight. Even on cloudy days, it can still help reduce SAD. 3, plan ahead. Break down holiday tasks because the holidays are just coming. I think there's 98 days left till Christmas. So think about that. You don't want to get overwhelmed. 4, social support. Make time for friends and family, even if it's virtual. Number 5, don't forget the light therapy. Consider light therapy, even if it's yucky outside. Number 6, focus on nutrition. Eat a balanced, rich diet. That is huge. If you're going to consume a lot of sugars, you're really going to have the sugar crash and you're really not going to feel good about yourself. So healthy fruits, vegetables, of course, vitamin D is key essential. And the last one is mindfulness and gratefulness. Practice mindfulness, meditation, telling yourself that you love yourself. And I know that that's really hard and weird to do, but your body listens to yourself. So why not tell yourself, I love you.
I love
and
you.
it takes you a lot. So hopefully those little last 7 tips will help you get through the day and make yourself a better you.
Yes. And we appreciate that. Perfect place to land the plane. Thank you for that motivation and that energy and information. Once again, motivational speaker from The Positive Shift, Stacey Renee. We appreciate you again.
Thank you.
A lot of motivation right there in that interview and a lot of great information, by the way. Like we said, we broke down SAD, seasonal affective disorder, and how we can combat that. So make sure you are staying active and you have some type of accountability buddy that kind of keeps you on track and things as well. Shred off that negative energy. Speaking of shredding, see what I did there? Friday and Saturday are shredding day at the West Bloomfield Town Hall. That'll actually be this weekend, starting Friday, September 27th, 4 to 6 p.m. for senior drop-off, and then Saturday, September 28th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. But in case you missed that, there's a whole nother one. You can join Vibe Credit Union at their West Bloomfield branch October 5th. That's a Saturday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Bring your old documents and enjoy peace of mind knowing that they are securely shredded. All you got to do is drive up and drop off. There is a limit of 3 boxes per person, and there will be no sorting of the documents on site either. So that's a good note as well. They're asking that you arrive early because there will be a line, and everyone is welcome, even if you are not a Vibe Credit Union member. Now look at that right there. If you want more information regarding that shred event at Vibe Credit Union, visit their website, vibecreditunion.com, for more information. Since we were talking about physical activity and staying fit, the final Yoga in the Park will be taking place this weekend as well, giving you one last chance to experience the calm of the fresh air and the gentle sounds of nature as you connect with yourself, your breath, and your body, all at this yoga event. The last Yoga in the Park of the year, this Saturday at 9 a.m., by the way, and it will be instructed by Erica Shiak of Sunyata Yoga. Great thing. Make sure you bring your yoga mat, bottled water, bring some great vibes as well as we get into that. And all of that, like I said, right here on Civic Center TV, it's all approved. Kevin McIntosh, I approve that message, and we appreciate you joining us. Per usual, we are live, we are local, and we are social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.